Hi, welcome back to Bride Society. I'm Rebecca and this is Laura.
So today's video is all about those hidden and unexpected costs that when you're drawing up your wedding budget, you might just not even think of, or you might not even know about. So we're here to forewarn you so you can be prepared.
No nasty surprises.
Exactly. So you can just get everything you want as part of the wedding and you're not having to sacrifice something to pay for your registrar or something like that.
Which, especially last minute, that would be gutting.
That would be, yes. And they're a pretty important person if you're having a civil ceremony. So you want enough money in the budget for them.
Yes, which takes us to our very first point, is that your venue won't include, so if your venue cost won't include the cost of your registrar. They are sort of separate entities. So even if your venue says everything is included in the price, that's not something they're referring to. So you still need to organise, give your notice to intention to marriage, all of that separate to the venue, and the registrars have their own costs.
Yes, and they have a couple of different costs depending on where you're getting married. So if you're researching prices, just be aware that if you choose to get married at a registry office, it's often cheaper than if you are booking a registrar to come out to another venue to perform the ceremony there. So there might just be a difference in price for those, just so you're aware.
Yes, and if you're getting married in a church, again, factor in things that might cost extra and be aware of them, like organists, bell ringers, choir, and also making sure whether the church is taking care of the floral displays, that kind of thing. And because often often when you organise florist, you do it so that you have your displays and things at your ceremony venue, and then they usually then get moved to your reception venue, and you kind of get two lives out of them. But obviously if the church are providing the ones and it is included in the price at the church, then obviously you can't just abscond with them. So again, factoring in how that might cost to you through the day.
Yeah, and with that example, if you're having a florist and you're having them move your flowers, there might be an extra cost for the florist to do that for you, but it's often less hassle than kind of roping in a couple of groomsmen to put them in the back of the car and then moving them to the reception venue. So it might be a cost worth doing.
Obviously, if it's all in the same place, that issue kind of goes away.
Yeah. Another big one that is often forgotten about is postage stamps. So the prices for those go up every year. Costs skyrocket, but important if you've got people you want to invite who you can't deliver, and perhaps hand deliver your invitations to or save the date. So just factor in the number of stamps you're going to need. If you do it far enough in advance, you can choose kind of second class over first class. Yeah. If, depending on the time of year you're getting married, if you want to send invitations around Christmas, bung them in with your Christmas cards if you send Christmas cards, so you can kind of save on postage there. But yeah, just bear in mind, stamps can soon add up if you're inviting a lot of people.
Or just e-bite.
Yeah. WhatsApp. Text.
Yeah, text, quick email. Yeah. Just do it on your wedding website, something like that. Taxes. Always a fun topic. And we're actually recording this during near year end for the tax year too. So, it's a hot topic right now, adulting. So, but yes, taxes. So VAT taxes, making sure that when you look at your sort of quote breakdown from your supplier, just taking note as to whether those taxes VAT is included in that quote, or whether it's sort of an add-on afterwards, like with the VAT.
Because that would be a nasty surprise if it was extra.
Yeah, if you're watching this in North America, you're probably much more used to this, but here in the UK, usually when we go out and buy things, everything's all included and you just pay the price you see. But sometimes with how things are broken down with suppliers, it might not be the case, so just be vigilant.
The next thing you might not have thought about is corkage. Now, you might have got an amazing deal on a load of bottles of wine or champagne, bringing it to your reception venue to give to all your guests instead of paying hotel or venue prices. However, they might charge you a corkage fee, so this is the cost per bottle for them opening the bottles, essentially. It's so they don't lose out on the income they would normally get from providing the kind of drinks and alcohol.
And they're still got to pay the people to serve it.
So your great deal might not work out much cheaper or any cheaper if corkage is added on. Now there are no corkage venues, so you might have one of those.
That's a hard sentence.
It was a hard sentence. But yeah, it's just something to be made aware, to be aware of when you're kind of calculating whether it's worth doing the. Well, you can't really do the Calais run now, can you? To get the booze cruise to go and get the cheap alcohol from France. So just when you're calculating if it's going to save you money to provide your own, just think about that.
Yes. And then feeding suppliers, not necessarily something you might automatically think of. Obviously not all suppliers that you have are there throughout the day, so not obviously every supplier is going to need you to feed them, but if you think about particularly like your photographer who are with you probably throughout the entire day, just check with them or make the offer about feeding them. They might want to make their own plans, so quite often that period of time where you're eating is kind of their break, so they might want to get out of there and things, but particularly if you're in the middle of nowhere getting married and things. So check with them, get a firm answer, and then making sure that your venue knows about that, because as well some venues have a different rate that they might charge you for feeding suppliers versus everybody else, because the suppliers don't typically eat with you, as it were, so you don't have to factor them into the seating plan or anything like that. But I think because it doesn't have all the airs and graces, they don't necessarily all charge them the same.
No, and they might not always, say if you're having a 3-course meal, that might not always be the case for a supplier meal. So talk to the supplier, talk to the venue, and just make sure that if the supplier does want feeding, that the venue is going to feed them.
Yes.
And something to think about when you're kind of looking for your wedding dress or wedding outfit is often if you go to a bridal shop and order made to order wedding gown, then alterations are normally necessary and they're normally not included in the price of the dress. So often I think they recommend about 3 fittings once the dress has come in, so you can go and try it on and see what needs tweaking. So that's something else to be prepared for, that either it's an in-house seamstress in the bridal shop, or if they've got a recommended supplier to go to, that there will probably be an additional cost just to make it fit you perfectly.
And then post-wedding, the costs don't stop on the wedding day. So there's things to think about, like dry cleaning for said outfits, if you're changing your name, all the things like that, like with your passport, paying all these companies different fees to make those changes. Obviously not all of them charge to do that. Your thank you notes, and again stamps, circling back to those. So there's just again a few things there that kind of clock up to bear in mind.
So give this video a like if you liked it. If you've got any other suggestions for any other costs that you didn't expect or were a surprise to you on the day, or you found while you're wedding planning, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.